I'm just glad you guys are here. It's like, where's everybody? This is what it's like. I know.
It's why in 1990, then Senator Biden wrote the landmark legislation, the Violence Against Women Act, VAWA, to protect women from domestic violence, stalking, and sexual assault. But we knew that wasn't enough. So as chairman, or he knew that wasn't enough. So as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, he held public hearings on violence against women where courageous survivors shared stories of horrific violence. And his committee published groundbreaking reports on the impact of violence against women, documenting this tragedy in a way that policymakers could not ignore. It took years of building awareness, legislative expertise, and perseverance by Senator Biden, by then Senator Biden, in 1994. VAWA passed Congress. For decades, he has worked across the aisle to strengthen it. As president, he continued to expand his signature legislation, using every legislative and administrative avenue to address gender-based violence during his presidency. And today, to keep building on his proudest legislative achievement, Joe Biden is announcing new actions to combat gender-based violence. a total of more than $690 million in new funds to support survivors of gender-based violence, guidance on new protections to meet the housing needs of survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, dating violence, and stalking, a new National Resource Center on cyber crimes against individuals to help law enforcement and community-based organizations prevent, enforce, and prosecute cyber crimes. New private sector commitments to take on the non-consensual sharing of intimate images and cyber crimes against individuals. And new actions to support law enforcement in removing guns from domestic abusers. The president is proud that between 1993 and 2022, annual domestic violence rates dropped by 67%, and the rate of rapes and sexual assault declined by 56%. It is one of the reasons why Joe Biden calls it his proudest legislative achievement. But he knows there is more work to do. So it is why today his new actions are so important. As the president said, and I quote, "Today, as we mark 3 decades since we passed into law the Violence Against Women Act, we celebrate our progress while recommitting to the work ahead." Also, the president and his senior team are closely monitoring the impacts of Francine as it moves through to the southern United States. FEMA Administrator Criswell is currently in Louisiana. She will meet with state and local officials, survey damages, and provide an update on our response efforts. Before Francine made landfall, the president approved Governor Landry's of Louisiana's request for an emergency declaration, which unlocked federal assistance to help support life-saving and life-sustaining efforts. Over 700 federal personnel, including 128 urban search and rescue personnel, are in Louisiana and ready to support any emergency response requests from the state. FEMA has also pre-positioned more than 750,000 meals, 1.2 million liters of water to support the needs of survivors. We continue to encourage those who are in the path of Francine to stay alert. Visit ready.gov for tips on how to stay safe and follow the recommendations of state and local officials. The Biden-Harris administration stands ready to provide additional support to impacted areas as necessary. And as I'm sure you guys already have heard this, but over the course of this administration and during his time as vice president, President Biden's approach to foreign policy in the Western Hemisphere has been based on his belief that democracy is fundamentally vital for sustained economic prosperity and security. Now, Venezuela is no exception, and the blatant electoral fraud following the July 28 presidential elections must continue to be condemned, and those obstructing democracy held accountable. And that is why, to that end, today we took 2 important actions to hold Nicolas Maduro and his cronies accountable for their blatant electoral fraud, obstruction of a competitive and inclusive election, and violation of the civil and human rights of the people. First, the Department of Treasury sanctioned 16 Maduro-affiliated officials. Second, the Department of State imposed new visa restrictions on a significant number of Maduro-aligned officials who have undermined the electoral process in Venezuela and are responsible for acts of repression. To date, the U.S. government has sanctioned over 140 current or former Venezuelan officials and taken steps to impose visa restrictions on nearly 2,000 individuals. The United States does not stand alone here in expressing our concerns with Maduro's anti-democratic actions. This morning at the UN headquarters in New York, we stood beside Panama and more than 50 other countries from across the region and globe to express our continued commitment to Venezuelan-led democratic norms, as well as our deep concern with the politically motivated arrest warrant issued by Venezuelan authorities, Edmund Gonzalez Urrutia. The United States will continue to work with our international partners to encourage Venezuelan-led constructive and inclusive dialogue to restore democratic norms, ensure Maduro and his representatives are held accountable for their actions, and support the people's aspirations for democracy and a more prosperous future. In the meantime, we cannot stand by while Maduro and his representatives blatantly commit electoral fraud and use violent, indiscriminate repression to silence opposition to Maduro's rule. Hence our actions today. At the beginning of this administration, President Biden made the decision to take the Quad to the leader level, and next weekend, President Biden will host the 4th in-person Quad Leaders Summit in Wilmington, Delaware. The president looks forward to welcoming Prime Minister of Australia, Prime Minister of India, and the Prime Minister of Japan. This will be President Biden's first time hosting foreign leaders in Wilmington as president, a reflection of his deep personal relationships with each of the Quad leaders and the importance of the Quad to all of our countries. The Biden-Harris administration has made elevating and institutionalizing the Quad a top priority, and this leaders' summit will focus on bolstering the strategic convergence among our countries, advancing our shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific region, and delivering concrete benefits for our partners in the Indo-Pacific in key areas. We will have more of the Wilmington-specific base details in days ahead of this particular Quad Summit that's happening next weekend. And lastly, this is a fun thing for all of us here. I wanted to take a moment to congratulate. We're about to embarrass her wholeheartedly, and I'm really happy about that because she should be. She's such a great person. And celebrate Kelly Scully. Well, Kelly's been supporting our team and working with many of you on healthcare and education stories, and she's not leaving. But she's also been working on her own story on love. Oh. I didn't know how I was going to deliver that one. Anyway, Kelly and her fiance Joe, who is here in the back of the room. Kelly does not know this. Hi, Joe. She thought she was here for Vow Wow. They will tie the knot just outside of Florence, Italy next week. None of us were invited. Maybe she invited you guys. But I'm so proud that Kelly was able to find love, and she is the fourth spokesperson in the Biden-Harris press office to get married during his term. So maybe I should take some credit for that. I don't know, but probably not. But anyway, Kelly, you are an indispensable member of our team. There's a lot of internal jokes happening. Yeah, subtext here happening. And so we could not be happier for you and Joe. Hi, Joe. Hi. Please join us in wishing them, in all seriousness, a lifetime of love and happiness. And we can't wait to have you back, Kelly. And congratulations to you, Joe. I was about to call you something else. Joe. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I know you had a busy day, so thank you for stopping by, Joe. Okay. Are you fully embarrassed? No. Oh, you want more? You want more embarrassment?
Another one.
All right, let's get to it. I know it's late. Colleen.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so a couple things. Can you tell us how the president thought the debate went? Where did he watch it? How did he consume the details of the debate?
Yeah, so as you know, he was in New York ahead of September 11th, so he watched it at the hotel in New York. And I'm going to be careful. I'm going to give you an answer, but I'm going to be careful because it is a 2024 campaign, so just have to say that at top. But what the president saw directly for himself is he saw a commanding, optimistic performance from the leader who he's been working with for the past 3.5 years, side by side. And he heard a powerful case for shared values that they have and shared policy goals that they have, standing up for our rights against dangerous abortion and IVF bans, tax cuts and lower costs for families to keep us on this strong economic growth trajectory. Instead of Maganomics, you hear me talk about this, the $4,000 increase in taxes and cuts for working people. He also saw her, again, demonstrate her commitment to keeping us more secure and safe, not just here, but obviously around the world. And he saw someone who continues to put the American people first, and she did it in an optimistic way. In an optimistic and dominant and powerful way, and I think you saw his tweet, bless you, that he put out, that his team put out that night, and so he's very, very proud of her.
On September 11th, did the president and Donald Trump were together and standing near each other? Did they have any conversations? Did they speak about anything?
I don't have any conversations to read out. I think you saw everything was pretty much being recorded in real time. Outside of what you saw yourselves by looking at the video, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other thing. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
On the Wilmington summit, I just wondered if you could share anything about, is the president going to have the leaders to his house for a barbecue, or what are the plans for how he's going to entertain the leaders?
Yeah, we did say it was personal, right?
Yeah.
Politics is personal, and he believes politics and obviously in this case foreign policy is personal. I don't have anything else to share beyond what I gave at the top of the briefing here, but he's looking forward to doing this. It is the first time hosting foreign leaders in Wilmington, as I just said at the top. And I think it's going to be an opportunity for him to reflect certainly of his deep personal relationships that he's had with each of the Quad leaders, and we'll have more soon to share.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Risha.
Thank you, Karine. There is a woman named Laura Loomer who recently tweeted that if the vice president wins the election, the White House will smell like curry, and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center, among other things. She recently traveled with the former president, and I wonder if President Biden has read these remarks and his response.
Let me tell you our response from here. It is repugnant, these types of comments. It is un-American to say these types of things, exactly the kind of hateful and divisive rhetoric that we should denounce, and we should not be part of the fabric of this country. It doesn't matter what your political views are. You should stand and condemn these types of just repugnant words. No leader should ever associate with someone who spreads this kind of ugliness, this kind of racist poison. That's what this is. And who continues to fan these types of dangerous and insulting conspiracy theories, like the false notion that the tragic 9/11 attacks were an inside job. We were you all saw leaders and family members tell their stories yesterday, especially at Ground Zero in New York City. We all, I'm sure, many of us have personal stories of that day, 9/11 of 2021. And more than 2,000 lives were lost. 2,000. And to say that it's an inside job, and to spread that is insulting. And we should not, no leader should be connected to that or spreading that. And as the President Biden has always said, it's our duty. It is our duty as Americans to give hate no safe harbor, and to bring the country together around our shared values, and to recognize and appreciate the unique strength that our diversity gives us as a nation. He says this all the time. Our diversity is our strength.